What is something that unlikable people tend to do? Neglecting even an attempt at being friendly or understanding of others' perspectives. I get that not everyone is Mr. Rogers. I know that mental health plays a role in how humans interact. But silo thinking, brought on by being online, remote work, gig jobs, and fractured news and entertainment, etc., has broken humanity at its core. The progress we've made in the past 10k years is rooted in cooperation, collaboration, and simply live and let live attitudes. With the loss of value in those, we're doomed to fail, no matter how technologically advanced and wealthy we become. Making an extra effort to explain and justify things they choose or do regardless of how much people care or actually appreciate what they even did. I know a few people, family members, unfortunately, who will keep expounding on why they did a thing they did that everyone already thinks was an asshole move. They'll keep trying to make their point even when people are already trying to get them to realize why that wasn't a very good idea. They will not budge when offered other options. Extroverts that think introverts need to be just like them. Extroverts that narrate out loud to everyone in the group about your body language and reactions. Interjects loudly in a conversation they were not a part of to one-up everyone. Thinks they are smarter than everyone else, lacks curiosity and doesn't ask questions. When you correct them on something, they give you a look like you just kicked a puppy. Fuck you, my former boss. 1. Interrupt people when it's their turn to speak in the normal conversation. 2. Invade someone's 3 feet of space. 3. Always redirects a conversation to be about them when it never is. 4. Hides insults and jokes and pretends they are the victim when called out. 5. Constantly complaining about things in life without ever talking about the beauty of life or never having a solution after the complaining is done. What do you mean by unlikable? Some people are disagreeable and unlikable simply because of the attitudes of others. For example, if you're a private person, not very extroverted people will find reasons to make up some type of narrative about you which makes you unlikable. Or do you mean the type of person that is objectively unlikable because of their behavior towards other people? It's more about what they tend to not do. People tend to like people who are curious about them, show genuine interest and ask questions. Unlikable people only listen for an excuse to talk and make everything about themselves. They also don't consider the impact they have on the world around them. Looking at you, person with a loud Bluetooth speaker at a busy hiking location, injecting politics into every discussion. You could be talking about bananas and the next thing you know they will say something like, you know who hates bananas? Joe Biden and those liberal fascist racist scumbag Democrats. Dude, we were just talking about if the banana split from DQ was as good as the one from Baskin Robbins. Criticize personal events and things that other people host. Their wedding was so boring, they didn't even have an open bar for us. Like, maybe their wedding wasn't about you? Maybe they couldn't afford an open bar or have family members with drinking problems? You never know things like that. Just be grateful. Blame everything on mental illness or personal issues. I myself struggle with mental illness, so I understand it makes some things hard. However, it's not an excuse for everything. It's not an excuse to not have a job or contribute to society, or to be shitty to people. These same people often have a victim mindset. People make themselves look terrible when they get carried away with gossiping. Wallowing in talk of other people's misdeeds or misfortunes may end up hurting their feelings if the gossip ever finds its way to them, but gossiping is guaranteed to make you look negative and spiteful every time. Judge everyone and everything, state their opinion about everything. Which is usually a critique, but they say it with authority as though everyone should not only be interested in their opinions but honor them as well. Act like they are the most important person in every room. Vote. If you have a good life, you don't even bother thinking about voting. The people who vote are losers. They think that electing some person they never met or spent any alone time with will magically make their lives better. Dismiss your input without listening to it. Take advantage of others. Lay claim on someone else's achievement. Agreeing to work together help you but never really do, and when you inquire they take no responsibility and weasel out. Relating to themselves and not relating to others makes me drop the conversation instantly. Unless they are in a vital function for all of us, but if they were rightfully so they only will do this in a very dire situation. Accusatory comments. Because I am an atheist, I have been accused of awful things in the apartment building. The women who started it, have either died or moved, and suddenly it all stopped, because no one else really cares. Make everything about themselves, talk about themselves constantly, insert themselves into and try to upstage stories told by others, ignore others when they talk about themselves, etc. It's very tiresome to be around. Constantly talk about how shit their life is, how miserable they are, and never wanting advice on how to make it better. People who victimize themselves all the time are so draining. Reframe every single conversation to remain the focal point. And when they sense that doing so will put them in a bad light, they position as a victim. There's too much you in us self-identifying as a bitch asshole. Shit-talking other people 24/7 and jokingly brushing it off as part of their personality. You're not quirky, Ashley, you're just unpleasant. Complain. Only talk about themselves. Care too much about being right. Low EQ. Argumentative. Defensive. Disagreements are personal. Everything is political. Egotistical. Selfish. I knew someone who literally bragged on social media every time she accomplished something. It was ridiculous. Even small things that no one else needed to know. Not being willing to admit having made a mistake and apologize. Not being willing to learn because they think they already know everything and are infallible. Anime. Now I am not saying everyone who likes anime is unlikable, but on a Venn diagram with unlikable people in anime there is a very heavy overlap. Talking on far beyond the point when a listener's interest has waned. Relatedly, treating a conversation as just waiting for their turn to talk again. Continue to talk to you even though you have displayed all of the non-verbal semi-verbal cues which should indicate that the conversation is over. Victim mentality, making everything about themselves. Condescending. Anyone who cuts people off when they are enthusiastically telling a story. Bloviate long-winded monologues about themselves and never want to ask questions or listen to others. Just use other people for a sounding board. Talk 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 talk. Pretend to listen for 10 seconds. Talk 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 talk. Pretending to be friends while using it as a transaction to sell to you. No time for you when you don't purchase or are useful. Ugh. Cringe. Ooh, I got a good one. Feeling like anytime someone shares a thought or opinion that it is an opportunity to start a debate. Change lanes, turn without signaling. It's one of the easiest ways to demonstrate someone is in thrall of main character syndrome. Always having to top everyone's stories. We have a guy at work called Cool Whip because he tops everything. Say it like Stewie. Sparkles, I just tell it like it is, Sparkles. No Jim, you're just a prick that lacks basic manners and has shitty thoughts opinions. They comment, be rude to servers at restaurants, and posting everything they do on social media on these posts. Never taking responsibility for their actions. Then, once shown the result of their actions, blaming someone else. Listening to things on their laptop, tablet, cell phones without headphones. What the hell is wrong with people? Locus of control is always external. In other words, if I did something bad it was because someone made me do it. Say I need you to. No. You don't need that. You want it. Guess what? Sometimes want why doesn't get why. They expect you to listen to their stories for half an hour. And start to nod off 10 seconds into you talking. When they feel the need to be petty, nitpicky and put people down whenever they are going through a tough time. Get angry at answers or ask credit questions. Don't come here then nobody cares about your tears or outrage. Constantly interrupt other people while they're talking and turning the conversation around to themselves. Laugh out loud at a video they're watching in a group setting waiting for someone to ask what's so funny. Talk about how people with opinions different than theirs are obviously stupid, evil, or poorly informed. Give corrections or directions when they are not in a supervisor position. Whether at a job or not. Super political. I don't care left or right, give it a rest. We're just trying to eat dinner here. Presume that you're another resource for their goals and desires, and that you accept that role. They always blame others for everything bad and never admit that they might have made a mistake. Instead of listening, waiting for you to stop talking so they can one-up whatever you said. Start their sentences with well I think actually but anything that starts with I. Putting themselves on a pedestal and constantly trying to one-up everyone else around them. Playing music and phone calls through the loudspeaker on their phone on public transport. Because they are miserable they try to make everyone else miserable. My ex-wife says hi. I thought it said unkillable at first. I was going to get some tips on immortality. Tenerife. If you've just come back from Tenerife, they've been to Tenerife talking a lot overall when it's not needed, also cutting others while they're talking. Pick their teeth or nose in public, chew with their mouth open, cough in your face. Make fun of shame people for not knowing something when they are trying to learn it. Talk about themselves a lot. Argue about every little thing just to be contrarian. Treat people with different lifestyles as though they're the scum of the earth. Litter. I've yet to come across a litterer who happens to be kind and generous. Do a couple reps and take selfies for 5 minutes while occupying gym equipment. Be difficult. Don't be a difficult friend if you want to keep getting invited. I personally hate people who seem to have to one-up every story they hear. Share too much personal information at work. Try to manufacture drama, interrupt, make everything about them. I find this incredibly draining. Piss on your leg when and if you become too close and friendly. Look down on someone wearing clothes from a resale shop or Goodwill. Act like they know better than you when they are ignorant to facts. Blow up in anger over the slightest often inconsequential thing. They tend not to like people, but need those people to like them. Taking pictures of all their food and posting it to social media. Claim to be the best at everything, basically a stable genius. Being too loud and boisterous, mostly at inappropriate times. Constantly talking about themselves and how great they are. Interrupt people when it's not their turn to speak. Always look for problems in everything and faults in everyone. Ask very direct personal questions in rapid succession. Superiority complex at work when we have the same title. Putting down other people they believe are below them. Judging others way too quickly or for no real reason. Asking you a question, not listening to your answer. They always try and avoid their turn to buy around. Boast or whinge about everything. Play the victim. Invade someone's personal space and interrupts them.